And this is this amazing adventure to do this. It was lovely looking at the young architects, and one of them was working with us. And it's so optimistic. I've taught my whole life, and it's wonderful to watch you starting your careers. And if I did anything, I hope I was able to somehow be useful to you in terms of the next generation. Architecture is it's a place where we have a voice. And I somehow recognized that when I was a young man. And I fought my whole life for architecture as an art form. And it speaks symbolically, and we make beautiful or maybe compelling or interesting things, which is just fun, and it's childlike in some way. And when we do our job correctly, we make connections, and we can change the world a bit. And we can shape behavior, and we can make connections with the world politically and culturally and socially. And it's the potential of our profession, other than making pretty things. This is incredibly unusual for me to be here tonight, because it's my journey has been somewhat odd. And I'm a kid that barely got out of high school, and would have never even vaguely imagined of being even slightly successful in anything I did at that time of my life. It was just stumbling forward. And out of high school, I remember my counselor, who was thoroughly disgusted with me because I spent most of my time in the principal's office for getting into spiffs and fights and this and that. And thought I should be going to some trade school or something. And I'm going, I don't know. And I had a mother that was quite kind of pushing in an academic sense. And I kind of wandered through and went to a school and didn't like it. And then I showed up at USC. And school had already started for 2 weeks, and I walked into the dean's office and said, you know, I have no idea what I'm doing, but could you get me in here? And I was a totally naive kid. And it was Sam Hurst, was his name. And he actually said, look, come on in and give it a shot. And that was the beginning of a connection, really, because I was just an absolute basket case. And it just grabbed hold of me, and I was I'm kind of a tall guy, and I'm not a sports guy. And I was the kind of a guy that arranged flowers, and it was kind of weird. And all of a sudden I was around artists and sculptors and painters and architects, and it just made sense to me. And it was just, after that, it was just a slow, continuous kind of evolving. And it's a profession that's been, I couldn't ask for anything more than to be with the group of people I've worked with, and to have to gone through this journey, which was completely and totally unanticipated. And it's a complete love affair. I think that's all I can say. I am taking this as a part of a collective act. And that I have worked with a group of people, and it became, I think, evident maybe in my generation, 60s, that architecture was a collective act, and out of that came morphosis. Peter Cook was on the film tonight, was Archigram. I basically kind of stole his idea of the collective act, and it was a part of that. And I have to say that there's huge numbers of people. It would be impossible to say all their names. In the last 40 years, I started my practice when I was 20 years old. And that I'm receiving this award as a part of a collective act. That sometimes I'm not even sure what I do. I do a little this and a little that. And I work with these incredible, talented people, and I steer the ship a bit, and every once in a while I'll come in and make much more kind of specific remarks. And I take this as a part of a studio. I have to also thank the series of people who put huge great time in allowing me to stand here tonight. And it started with Max Goggin, who presented me twice, and Ed Feiner, who you saw in the film, and Andrea Lear, and Stephen Dumas, and finally John Enright, who presented me this year. And I thank them for the huge amount of effort and time they put. I take it seriously, the effort it takes to present me in front of this group of people. And finally, my wife's right here, Blythe. A lot of you, I know a bunch of you got this award. I always thought you were kind of second in line in this group. And I had the fortune of hooking up with this girl 31 years ago, and she's run the firm. And actually, at one point, quite a few years ago, she actually reminded me, I'm the kind of art guy, and I've always kind of pushed the firm in terms of its artistic achievements. And she would whisper in my ear, it actually is kind of a business, Tom, and we kind of have to deal with this. And anybody that knows our work always knows that I've had this secret weapon, and that we've worked together all these years. And